Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Cynthia Greer, spiritualist who works at the in-depth level of the soul. For those who are new, I work with all aspects of spirituality, from twin flames to soul sickness to death and dying, entity attachments, as well as the spiritual effects of living with a disability, being diagnosed with a catastrophic illness, or becoming a caregiver for a family member who is disabled or in the death process or has a mental illness. I am the author of 5 books, one of which we will be working from today, which is Twin Flames, Healing the Shattered Heart When Union Isn't Possible. And this is the first of 5 videos where we will be discussing the 5 stages of twin flame grief. And I realized that I myself was going through it when I could not release my own twin flame who had returned to my life, not physically, but in communication, after many decades of being in physical separation. And we had had a relationship in our youth. And when I had the aha moment was when I realized that in my youth, I didn't know what the 5 stages of grief were. And I had all of the signs of continually going through them, but then going back to the beginning and repeating them all over again because I hadn't healed on an inner level and broken the patterns due to the void that I hadn't filled within myself because I was looking to him to fill what was lacking inside of myself. So here we go. Okay, the first stage of twin flame grief is denial over your twin flame's lifestyle or their marital status. Okay, well, when my twin came back, he was obviously married to someone else. And I knew, I had that innate knowing that he was never going to leave that connection, that he had accumulated a lot on a material and financial level with her, and that there was indeed a bond there. There was love there, even though he deeply could feel the connection with me. And we had those deep moments and all of the spiritual experiences that come with them when you are not in contact. So when I was at the depths of the pain, I had a lot of reviewing going on. And I looked back on our younger years, and so was he. He admitted this, that he remembered everything about the relationship. It was as though we had ended it yesterday. And so we were both going through this at the same time. And one of my memories was that when he started to date other women, I realized that he was superficial. That, yes, he had that deep side that I experienced with him, but there was another side. And I knew that I had to buck it up and move on, but the issue was there was a strong sexual bond there, and so every time a relationship flopped on his end, all he had to do was crook his finger, and I would eagerly come back and hop into bed with him, because for me, that was my way of showing affection, that that would make the bond stronger, and he wouldn't want to leave me. But the truth was, he was a player. So, speed ahead, some 40-odd years later, and I find myself daydreaming that he is going to get this divorce, that he's going to tie it up neatly, and we are going to buy a house and build a life and live happily ever after, which he did talk about. But when he did bring it up, I was very tongue-in-cheek, because I knew he wasn't going to do it. I just knew it. And what clued me was when he said, if I do this, I'm going to have a mess. And she is going to be so hurt. Right there, I knew it was her feelings that were going to be considered over mine. I was, at that point, the old girlfriend. He had built the life with her. And even though it's a twin flame connection, we were sharing dreams, everything was happening, everything was so deep. The 3D physical earth plane had a lot of clout. And there are twins that can overcome it, that have walked out of marriages, that have created a beautiful life together. I know because I've worked with them. But that was not the reality in our connection. There were many things that both of us needed to learn through separation that was bringing a lot of growth at a soul level. So, what did I do? Well, in my desperation, even though I knew what I knew, I clung because I didn't want to let him go. The thought of not having any of him at all was tearing me apart. So I thought that if I helped him, if I guided him, that would somehow bring us closer together. Of course, I did want his highest good. I absolutely wanted that. But here's where we have to be careful. When we are an empath, and we know certain things that our twin doesn't know, that tendency to manipulate is there. It's very natural. But you have to own up to it, that is what you are doing. Whether it's doing these lovely little texts with emojis and how's your day going, I'm thinking of you, or I'm feeling this about you, or I sense this about you, anything that is going to bond you and bring you closer together. That is only going to prolong your growth because it will keep you repeating that cycle. And so what this is you don't want to face the truth about their life choices, their behavior. You believe you can save them from their destructive lifestyle. In my case, my twin had a catastrophic illness at the same time I did. And I was up on how to physically take care of myself. He wasn't. He ended up very disabled from it. And I was trying to help him cope with that disability and do what he could to become as physically active in the shape he was in, and also help him with his dietary needs. And we did see some improvement. He did start to get better. And when he got better, he disconnected from me. And it was very few and far between. And so I knew it was obvious that at that point I had to face that part of it, because I thought that if he got better and that healing took place, he would make his way back to me. He'd see the light, which, of course, that was not meant to be. So you believe that you can save them. You want to step in because there's nothing else at this point. And so you feel if you save them, if you raise them to a higher level, they're going to see your goodness and not be able to live without you. And this is a hard pill to swallow when they have chosen a completely different path. So once you're very clear on this, in the first stage of twin flame grief, this is when the healing is going to kick in, and you can begin to move into the second stage, which we will discuss in the next video. Until then, I wish you great love, peace, and many blessings. Much healing.